Hi guys, today I will talk about how to give constructive feedback to students. As you know, giving constructive feedback is a very important skill that a teacher should have. It decides if the student will keep practicing that subject or will give up. Do you remember the time when some teacher give you some kind of comments that make you feel motivated and make you feel like you are good at that subject and you can practice more? And do you remember the other time when a teacher give you some comment that hurts you and it makes you feel bad about that subject and you don't want to practice? So today I'm going to give you step by step how to give constructive feedback so your student can learn more and practice more of the skill. There are 3 steps to constructive feedback, and they are: number 1, to point out what is good about the kid's submission. Number 2 is to point out what aspect of that work can be improved, and number 3 is how to improve it. And let's go into detail about how to do all these 3 steps with some examples.
Unit 2, Lesson 1, Point and Say. A. What do you do in the morning? I always brush my teeth. B. What do you do in the morning? I usually do morning exercise. C. What do you do in the afternoon? I often cook dinner. D. What do you do in the evening? I sometimes watch TV.
So with these submissions from the kid, I would do something like this. Number 1, I will give her a good prize, like a good job Bella, or good job John, good job Ben, for working. So you have to give them credit for working. Number 1. The reason why you have to give them credit for working is because even if they have a lot of room to improve, but if you show up at the work, you will get better at times. So you need to, as the teacher, you need to encourage that. After giving them credit for working, you need to point out what is good about their product. But not just good in general. You have to point out like, okay, so this is a speaking submission, so I have to point out the intonation aspect of it, the stress in aspect of it, and the pauses, and maybe her voice, her phonemes, or whatever. You have to divide the good into different aspects so she knows that the kid know that he is good at it, and it's a kind of raising awareness to the kid. So next time if he submits something, he will keep that, he will up level that. So it's not only praising, but it's also professional comments, and you have to break it down into sub skills. Okay, that is number 1. Number 2 to constructive feedback is to point out what need to be improved. Of course, they are students, so there are plenty of rooms to improve. It's not that you're perfect and you don't need to work hard anymore. Of course, everybody has to work hard. So how to point out the things that they can work on in the future. So in the example that I show you, the students almost didn't make any mistakes, but if your student ever made a mistake in speaking, you have to point out that where they make the mistake. Not just say, oh, this is bad, or this is good, this is bad, or you pause at the wrong time, or your pronunciation is odd. But you have to point out, okay, you have to pause here instead of here. Like you have to say on the table instead of on the table, something like that. Or you could tell them, okay, it should be table, not table. So they will keep in mind those things. But you have to be very specific on the mistake so the kid can keep in mind the next time he submit the work. And the very last step to constructive feedback, but it's the most important one, is to give the student what they need to do to improve, or what they need to do not to make those mistakes anymore. We are teachers, we get paid for this, and if we can't do this job well, our students won't ever improve. Once we detect problems, like, okay, this kid had pronunciation problem, we can give them some listening material so they can listen to more of the native source. Or if this person have grammar problem, maybe we give them more grammar practice. Or if the students have like fluency problem, with this fluency problem we can give them some speaking exercise so they can improve over time. And so to summarize, we have 3 steps to constructive feedback. Number 1, to give them credit. Number 2, to point out what can improve, what they do. And number 3 is the tool or the source that they can use to improve, or the ways they can improve. If you can do all these 3 steps, I believe that your students will improve in no time. I have done it with so many students and they have improved, and I have been surprised about how much they improve, and you will too. I hope this video is useful for you, and I hope you apply these principles or these steps to enhance your students' performance. Thank you, and see you soon. See you next time.